Okay, well, if this is what's happening, that means Tiffany and Britt are going to say no. Okay? That means Bliss is going to say yes and Zach's going to say no. It threw me. Hey y'all, and welcome back to this episode where I'll be giving you a play-by-play recap and my not-so-humble opinion of Love is Blind Season 4, Episode 11 and 12. If you like this kind of content, please hit the subscribe button. Enough of that, let's get into why you really clicked on this video. So honestly y'all, Episode 11 was a snooze fest and we could have done without it. It was just a bunch of stuff slapped together and then the beginning of a wedding. But since I'm here, I might as well give you the gist. So the episode opens up with Kwame and Chelsea, aka Chelsea and Kwame. And there's a somber music playing in the background and it's raining and I'm feeling like someone's about to break up with somebody. Okay, it was just giving depression. But it did not turn out to be the best of conversations because it turns out the night before, Kwame told Chelsea that she can't take his last name unless his mom approves. Excuses. It's difficult saying this now because I know what happens at the beginning of episode 12, but still, this just felt like Kwame's making a whole bunch of excuses. And Kwame, your mom doesn't approve of you having sex before marriage, and you do that. So why are you trying to pretend that you only do things that your mom approves of? Stop using your mom as an excuse. Please and thank you. Kwame says his dad doesn't know about this. And when he said that, I realized that we've actually not met any of Kwame's people up until this point. We've not met his friends, no siblings, no co-workers, no squirrels, nothing. So, Kwame, where are your people? Where are your people? It's episode 11 and you have no people. So next up, it's Bliss and Zach and they're in the pool all loved up. The chemistry fire, okay? Just chemistry, boom. And Bliss looks good as usual. I just love Bliss. I don't know. I love Bliss's boobs. Sorry if that makes me sound like a creep, but my God! Wow! I think I've always liked how clothes fit on smaller chested girls. But after seeing Bliss, I was like, wow, you can actually pull off bigger breasts. So, yeah. Anyway, Bliss makes a joke that Zach shouldn't have told her dad how long they've known each other because it makes them seem crazy. And it really does. 20 days, it seems very crazy. Next up, it's Tiffany. And Tiffany meets Britt's father and brother, and they are just a bunch of jokesters, really. But Britt's dad got serious and asked about Tiffany's family, her connection with Britt, and he gave them a little bit of advice of what men, aka menfolk, he said menfolk and I couldn't believe it. So what menfolk really need from a wife. Then it came Britt's brother's turn to speak, and all he really wanted to know was if Tiffany likes his hairdo. He said, "Do you like my hairdo? That's all I need to know. If you like my hairdo, then you're cool with me." That was so corny. It just wasn't as funny as he thought it was going to be. But anyway, Tiffany, she's kind-hearted, so she laughed. The next scene is Micah and Paul's packing because he's not going to spend the night with Micah because the weddings are tomorrow, the next day. like I said, and as you can hear, this episode was just a mishmash of different scenes. I don't know whether it's leftover footage or what, or it was just giving messy, everything everywhere. But the next scene, it's the bachelor and bachelorette parties. And the girls are having their bachelorette party. Chelsea's all hyped up and she asks if there are going to be any strippers. And she says, are there going to be any strippers here? My fiance is 10 times hotter than any stripper. Girl, stop hyping Kwame up like that. Kwame is not that hot. He's a good looking, but at this point, no. You're going to disappoint everyone. When they meet him, they're going to be like, is this the Kwame you were talking about? He's a good looking guy. He's okay, but geez, calm down. So over at the boys' party, there's a burlesque dancer and Zach isn't into it. So he's sitting at the bar with his friend and they keep calling him over like, come join us. And he's like, nah, I'm not into that kind of stuff. And the reason he's not into it is because his mom was a stripper. So yeah, I think he just can't find anything entertaining about it. So nothing controversial happens at the bachelorette party and nothing happens at the bachelor party. So on to the next day. It's Kwame and Chelsea's wedding and yeah, they're doing all the wedding stuff. Chelsea's happy, Kwame's happy. Chelsea's with her friends and family. Kwame's with his boys and they're chatting, talking about, are you ready for marriage? Just the final conversations. And I will say this, Kwame's sister is so kind. She's just kind, funny, and loving. She's just got a bubbly personality. And honestly, she was just such a joy. She showed up wearing bright orange. She looks gorgeous. And it was just, she's happy. She's a happy person. So, yeah, she was great to see. So she even gave Chelsea a gift. She started off by seeing Kwame. She was with Kwame's brother. And, they had a chat and then they prayed. And then she went over to see Chelsea, where Chelsea was with her mom and her friends and stuff. And she gave Chelsea a little bag with Ankara print on it. And yeah, Chelsea was so happy to see her. Then she's the one that actually walked Kwame down the aisle as well. So Chelsea's dad walks her down the aisle and the ceremony begins. The officiant asks Chelsea, if she wants to marry Kwame, all the things, and obviously she says, I do. Then he asks Kwame, and the episode ends there. And they left us hanging off a cliff for a week, and it was not worth the wait. It was not worth the wait.
I said what I said, and always. I'm not changing on it, okay?
Episode 12 opens up with a hell of a throwback, reminding us of all the highlights of the season. And while watching that, I was like, wow, these couples have come a long way. And then I was also thinking, this is great. This is great footage for them to have. So after the throwback, we move back to Chelsea and Kwame's wedding day. So now the officiant begins. Now is the time to decide if love is blind. Do you, Kwame, take Chelsea to be your lawfully wedded wife? Do you promise to love her for as long as you both shall live? And Kwame said, I do. Kwame said, I do, guys.
You don't believe that. You don't feel that.
I was not expecting that. I think I'm still in shock. I just watched the episode and I'm still in shock. I couldn't believe he said, I do. I still can't believe he said, I do. But he did. I don't know why, because I don't think he really wants to be with Chelsea long term. But anyway, that's just my opinion. yeah, so they kiss and that's it. The experiment worked for them. And there they are, Mr. and Mrs. up here. So they go off to be alone and they really look happy together. But okay, they look happy together, but are they going to stay together? I can't wait for the reunions. I really can't, because I don't think Chelsea and Kwame will work out. I just don't see it. The next wedding is Paul and Micah's, and I'm just so glad that they decided to get over the boring weddings first. So, yeah. Paul says the question of whether love is blind has been answered twice in his case because he fell in love twice. Once in the pods and then again when he met Micah in real life. So Paul is at the bachelor pad talking to his friends, and he's talking, right? And then I looked away for a couple of seconds and I looked back and it was Paul's brother talking. They have the exact same voice, identical voice. And I think Paul has a distinct voice. Before I heard Paul speak, I'd never heard anyone speak like Paul. But his brother sounds exactly the same as him. So that was funny to me. Anyway, Paul has cold feet. He's asking all of the questions. He wants a sign. He wants confirmation. He wants God to come down and say yes, or no, say no. At this point, he has frostbite. It's not cold feet anymore because, wow, he's stuck and he's overanalyzing his emotions and his mind. And he kept saying, oh, I wish I could just know what the right answer is. Boy, Paul. So the wedding begins and Micah is so funny. She was walking down the aisle and the whole time she's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my gosh. The whole way down the aisle, that was Micah. Oh God. So the wedding begins and, the officiant asks Micah if she will take Paul to be her husband, blah, 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 blah. And Micah was not about to get played, y'all. She knew from the beginning that Paul is flimsy. She was like, Paul is flimsy, so I can't answer this. So when the officiant asked her, she said, well, the best thing I can do for us is give you the opportunity to answer first. And, people will have different opinions about this. And I think it's great to be brave and pour your heart out even when you're in doubt and you don't know what the other person is going to say. But that's not for everyone. Not everyone wants to be hurt in front of a whole bunch of people, in front of their family, strangers, the whole entire world. And some people would be brave enough to be like, you know what, I'll pour my heart out and whatever happens, happens. But that's not Micah. So the officiant turned to Paul and there goes Paul. He says, I love you, but I don't think we can choose each other right now. I think that we are not there. What the hell does that mean? There where? Paul, it's now or never. I don't know these men that think that they can say no on your wedding day and then you guys are going to continue on and have a relationship after that. I mean, you're dumping me. That's it. You're dumping me in the worst way possible. So Micah says that this is honestly what she felt he was going to say. And the whole time she just wanted to be told by him that he loves her and that he wants to be with her. But he never did, so she never felt safe. Wait a minute, Micah. aren't you the same person a couple of episodes ago who said that, oh, I'm so happy with where we are, that we're not rushing things and we're taking it easy, we're not putting pressure on each other, and that we're using every day? So why are you now suddenly saying that you wanted confirmation before? Anyway, Paul started to talk, like to respond to Micah, and Micah just walked off. And high five, Micah. That's the move. That is the move, girl. Because what else? What else needs to be said? What is Paul going to say now? But when she walked off, it was so awkward, and Paul just turned and carried on saying his weird speech to the rest of the guests. And he said that what's right for him is right for both of them. Basically just gibberish. He wasn't really saying anything. And at this point, Micah was running down the aisle. And her friend Shelby said that she was so relieved that this whole thing didn't work out. So Paul follows Micah, and now they're alone together, and Micah says that he doesn't want him there, obviously. But Paul stays anyway, and he says he didn't do this because he doesn't love her. You know, that's not the reason. Then why? If you love her and you came on the show because you want to find someone that you love and you want to marry, why aren't you marrying her?
What was the reason, bitch? I don't need to explain myself.
Anywho,
What was the reason?
so Micah's breaking down, crying, and at this point, none of her friends or family followed her. So she has no one else to hug her or comfort her. So Paul is comforting her, basically. And there's just no way.
Ain't that your friend?
Her friend, Shelby.
Ain't that your friend?
I know, listen to me.
Ain't that your friend?
Okay, Shelby, I would not let my best friend walk off and run down the aisle by herself like that. I wouldn't. But anyway, thank goodness her mom and her friends finally walked in, and then Paul left. I mean, yeah, I won't say I was shocked, because Kwame and Chelsea's whole situation shocked me. So anything after that, I was ready for anything. I was just ready for absolutely anything. I thought, okay, well, if this is what's happening, that means Tiffany and Britt are gonna say no. Okay, that means Bliss is gonna say yes and Zach's gonna say no. It threw me. So after the whole thing, Paul is talking to the producers, and he says his love didn't always seem reciprocated, and for whatever reason, Micah held back. He says that saying no destroyed him because he does love her. I don't know, hey, the whole time this is happening, are you guys thinking what I'm thinking? Is anyone else thinking about Kwame and that Kwame is going to have regrets when he finds out? I was just thinking, like, if Kwame finds out that Micah's not married, it's going to be a mess. I can't wait for the reunion. I cannot wait for the reunion. And I feel this way because I still think that if Micah had said to Kwame, let's go, me and you, let's do this, Kwame would have been a goner. Chelsea would have never seen Kwame again. Paul would have never seen Micah again. But I think they were both playing it safe. Nobody wants to be the villain. Nobody wants to be the person that meets their partner, then breaks up another relationship by telling that other person, you know, I actually want to be with you, leave your partner. But I don't know. So next up, it's Tiffany and Britt's wedding, and Tiffany's super emotional. She's feeling all the feels that make it feel right. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, so blah, blah, blah. Both of them talk to their respective crews. And there's nothing new, really. Nothing. Oh, okay, well, Britt did have an issue with his suit pants. The pants didn't fit well, and he was really upset, as he should have been. But I don't know why he only tried those pants on his wedding day. But anyway, he rushes to the tailor, and this is all 1 hour until the wedding starts. How stressful. Anyway, the little old lady tailor worked as fast as she could, and everything worked out in the end. So yeah. And the next scene is a moment. Oh, what a moment. Marshall arrived, and I was so happy to see him there, smiling, and also really happy to see him and Britt together. I love their relationship, and I'm just so happy Marshall came to support his brother, okay? So Britt tells him that he's such an important part of his and Tiffany's story, and Marshall said that, it's hard to see what he could have had or what it could have turned out for him as well. And Britt just tells him, to keep his head up high for the right woman, and yeah, just all the best advice as usual. And at the end of it all, they tell each other they love each other, and man, I really love their friendship. I love their friendship, okay? So the wedding began, and as soon as Tiffany walked out, Britt started crying. Anyway, there aren't going to be any surprises here, guys. So Mr. and Mrs. Brown, let's go. They're married. That's it. I mean, yeah, I've never been so sure about anything. I'm not even this sure about my husband, okay? So that should tell you something. Okay, guys, it is the wedding that we've all been waiting for. Zach and Bliss. So Zach's sitting with his friends, and he's telling them about, the whole song coincidence, the I Hope You Dance song. And everyone's like, wow, amazed and everything. And I mean, Zach's happy. He's just got all the good stuff to say about Bliss, and Bliss has all the best stuff to say about Zach, and they just trust each other. It's really so refreshing to see this. I want to be the kind of woman that Bliss is. The way that she bounced back, and it's not just her. I mean, Zach definitely has a role to play because he had to prove himself. But the way she bounced back from being, quotation marks, second choice, is just amazing to see. She has all the confidence in their relationship, and it's just great. So Zach's grandmother and sister show up, and he was so happy to see them, so grateful that they came. And obviously he gets emotional because he really wishes that his mom would have been there, would have been able to be there with him. But I also want to be like Zach's mom, because Zach says he knows his mom loved him. No matter what, his mom always showed him love. His mom always believed in him and always told him that he could do anything. And that's why he's the man he is today. What an amazing mother. So over to Bliss, who looks stunning. I already told you guys that her wedding dress is my favorite. So, yeah. And Bliss is standing on the other side of the curtain with her mom and her dad, and her mom and dad are competing to be the ones to say the last words to Bliss before she walks down the aisle. But so just before they walk down the aisle, Bliss's dad says, "Never settle, no matter what." What the hell is that? Why did he say that? I don't know what's up with Bliss's dad and his weird comments. Anyway, they both say yes, and it's Mr. and Mrs. question mark, because we don't know what they're gonna go by. No one says anything, and so we don't know. So that's 3 out of 5. Our yeses are Kwame and Chelsea, Tiffany and Brett, and Bliss and Zach. Well, it's 3 out of 5 for now, but I think that only 2 out of 5 are actually gonna make it. At the end, the episode ended so beautifully. This season was just so emotional. So emotional. And a mixture of all the emotions as well. So this episode ended with Zach and Bliss having their first dance to their song, and then they did a montage of the other weddings as well, the other couples having their first dance as well. And it was just so beautiful and just a great way to end this episode. Anyway, guys,